Hello all, I hope you're doing well. This is just a short video that I am making to give you a few tips on how to search for articles in Google Scholar. Now, first, I should note that Google Scholar is not beloved by all, especially those who are really into conducting precise searches. Google Scholar is an extremely expansive database where you can find just about anything you could possibly want, but it doesn't do so in a very reliable or reproducible way. So the results that I get won't be identical to the results that you get. And so there's no sort of there's no expected return based on your search criteria. So it's important to know that Google Scholar is just one tool that's out there. It's a really helpful one. I use it all the time. And so I think it's useful to know how to use it, but you should use it in conjunction with other search tools like PsycInfo or Web of Science or whatever it may be. So I'm just going to briefly show you a couple little tricks about how to search for articles in Google Scholar. Nothing super advanced here, but just to show how if you just search one way, you might not necessarily find everything that you're looking for. So let's say that I'm doing a research project focused on ethnic identity and self-esteem. So I'm interested in how this construct ethnic identity, how one identifies with their ethnic group, is related to self-esteem or how they feel about themselves. So I will type in ethnic identity and self-esteem as keywords, and I'll actually initially hyphen that. And you can see that Google Scholars tries to autocomplete for you, so they kind of know it knows what you might be interested in searching for. So if I search for ethnic identity and self-esteem, I get a whole bunch of results here. And so there's a lot of very relevant hits. You can tell just from the title, we see a lot with ethnic identity, self-esteem, yada, yada, yada. The first one is from 1994, which there's nothing wrong with that. And this is a classic paper by Ruben Rambau. But it's possible sometimes you might be looking for something a little bit more recent. So what you can do there on the left side, you can restrict your searches just since 2021, since 2020, since 2017. So if I'm interested in like what has recently come out, right, I can click on since 2021, and then we get much more recent papers. And so, and also you can choose a custom range there, whatever range you particularly want. So that can be useful to play around with. One of the things I was saying, not everyone loves Google Scholar. One of the reasons why is you don't always know what order or why the articles show up in the order that they do. There's no real clear reason why they come in this order. It has to do with Google's algorithm, and we don't know what goes into that algorithm. And so, you know, playing around with different timescales will definitely allow you to see different articles that otherwise might be buried really far in the search history. Generally speaking, Scholar tends to bump up the most cited works or the most frequently engaged with works towards the top. So you can see Rumbau's paper there was cited by 2,345 different articles, but it's not exactly in cited by order because the next one is 164, but then 251, then 1144. But you can see they're all pretty highly cited articles that are showing up at the top. So that's one thing that's important in Google Scholar is thinking about the timescale that you're searching in. But I'm going to focus primarily on the search terms. So I put ethnic identity and then self-esteem as my terms. And then I put the hyphen in there. But what if I didn't have the hyphen? Will I get something different? No, that looks pretty much the same. Okay, so in this case, the hyphen isn't causing any problems. But one thing that you could see when I clicked on this is other similar options show up. So instead of ethnic identity self-esteem, there's racial identity self-esteem. So racial identity and ethnic identity, those are similar concepts. So if we click on racial identity, we get completely different results. And it's really looking for that keyword racial identity. And so we get totally different results if we have racial identity from ethnic identity. So it really highlights the importance of looking at synonyms and using different kinds of search terms because you will get different results depending on what terms you're using. Similarly, for self-esteem, self-esteem is a specific form of what we might call well-being. So if we change it to well-being, there's well-being as one word. There we go. We get different results once again. This one, if we, yep, and that time, if we hyphenated it versus not hyphenated, we get different results. So well-being hyphenated provides these results. Not hyphenated provides these results. So it's not completely the same. So, and there are other, other forms of, so there's I said self-esteem, well-being is the broader type, but what if you're interested specifically in depressive symptoms or depression? I guess we could say depression. Then you get, again, different results. So if you're looking at the specific forms of well-being or psychological functioning, you'll get different results each time. So it's really important to run through as many different terms as possible when you're doing these searches in order to find relevant articles. You can also use the advanced search, which is over here on the left bar. If you do advanced search, you can do more refined kinds of searches, trying different things. So you can play around with that. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but you can do things also with quotes where you put, if you want racial identity, to make sure it's always together, you put that in quotes. See, again, the results change a little bit by including racial identity in quotes. So, having it in quotes ensures that always that term racial identity is showing up. The last thing, again, I'm just trying to keep this short just because you don't want to watch a really long video. The last thing is in terms of doing both what are called forward searches and backward searches. So a forward search is looking at here, this paper by Kira Banks says was cited by 225 other articles. And if you click on that, then it shows you those articles. So this can be really useful to go through and find articles that are quite relevant because they cited that past work, but maybe didn't show up in your search. So you can scroll through these. Again, it's a lot to look through, but at least all of these articles were in some way connected to those. Now, people cite articles for all kinds of different reasons, so you can't assume that you're going to get a lot of good hits doing this, but it's still a useful way of doing a search to be able to find articles that you might not otherwise find. So that's called a forward search. But then you can also do a backward search, which involves actually looking at the article. So here the PDF is linked. I'm at my home machine, but I'm connected to the use library using VPN. So I have access to all these PDFs. And if I open this one, this paper, and then look in their reference section for relevant articles. So this is a backward search by looking at what articles did it cite. So a forward search is looking at what cited this article in the future, and a backward search is what articles did this one cite. So you can kind of scan the reference list and see if there's anything relevant there that might be articles that you'd want to include. So if you use all these different tools and tricks, you'll hopefully be able to find most of the major works that are out there on your topic, but you definitely can't just type in, the first time. If we typed in ethnic identity, self-esteem the first time, and just went based on these results, we would have a very limited snapshot of what this research is actually about. You have to use different kinds of terms. And so that's all I want to share with you today. Good luck, have fun, see you later.